Level 1. $0. Payday Friday. Lunch table. Plant floor humming behind you. You hide your phone behind the cooler lid and move $25 into an index fund. 90 minutes of line pay. Slivers of 500 companies. Every sliver works nights, and none of them answer to Marcus. Marcus catches the screen anyway. Floor supervisor, clipboard, the man who put your name on the Saturday overtime list 3 weeks after you asked for your anniversary off. You point at the request slip in his binder. Marcus doesn't open the binder. The market's for people with money, Marcus says. You can dream after your shift. Clock's mine. You bolt refrigerator hinges for $19 an hour. In 20 years, your money makes more before lunch than this plant pays anyone in a year. You're 27, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Taped mirror on the hatchback. One day, men who own factories drive to your porch to ask what to buy. Saturdays stop being Marcus's to give. Tonight your dad Walt checks your oil in the rain and says nothing. On his garage shelf sits a wooden cigar box. 20 years of overtime folded inside, for the day his truck dies. 20 years from now, Walt hands you that box. What does Walt want for 20 years of 20s? Level 2. $1,000. 74 cents. That's the deposit that lands on your cracked phone on a Tuesday morning, at the kitchen table in your apartment. A dividend. Your slice of 500 companies' profits, mailed to a hinge bolter in Michigan. You screenshot it. You've been paid to lift, to bolt, to sweat through 2 shirts by noon. You have never once been paid for owning something. Erin reads the screen over your shoulder. Erin is your wife, a 3rd-grade teacher, grades spelling tests at this table every night. She says it flat. 74 cents. The first money you ever made lying down. Neither of you laughs. It doesn't feel like a joke. You check the app at red lights on the drive to the plant, twice at long lights. The number never moves fast enough to be worth checking, and you check it anyway. Every beginner does. Here's the machine, and it's stupid simple. The dividend buys more slivers. The new slivers pay their own dividends. Those buy more slivers. A snowball that rolls itself, as long as you keep shoveling, and never, ever touch it. So you change one thing. Marcus schedules the Saturdays. Fine. Now every Saturday hour goes into the account, whole. Marcus thinks the overtime is his. It's yours. Same shift, different boss. At the next station on the line, Randy has opinions. Randy loads hinges beside you, 12 years in, talks like a megaphone. Randy is up 40% this month on a meme stock he can't explain, and his phone screen is in everyone's face by the microwave. Index funds? That's grandpa money, man. You gotta swing. You don't swing. You shovel. One Thursday, 3 men in suits walk the line with tablets, counting. They don't say hello. Men in suits only count what they're thinking of cutting. You notice. You keep bolting. Sunday at Walt's garage, you catch your dad feeding the cigar box. Walt thinks nobody sees him fold the 20 under the wooden lid. You see. You say nothing. In this family, that's how saving is done. Quietly, in a cigar box. End of year 1. The honest math. $1,000 saved, mostly in $25 Fridays and swallowed Saturdays. Total dividends for the year, $14. $14. A pizza. Randy would laugh himself off his stool. But here's the thing about your pizza. You didn't work for it. A machine made it. And you own the machine. And machines don't get tired. Don't get docked. Don't ask Marcus for Saturdays. Machines grow. 1 January. 20 years from now, 1 page in your handwriting will move other families' savings across this whole state. Tonight you own pizza money and a snowball the size of a fist. Payday comes again on Friday. Randy's stock is up again, louder now. Your $14 just sits there, buying slivers in the dark. The market is about to grade you both. Level 3. $10,000. The breakroom TV says, "Worst week since," and nobody hears the end of the sentence, because the microwave line has become a funeral. The market is down by 1/3. Grown men stand around the breakroom reading their retirement accounts out loud in the voices people use for obituaries. Somebody's brother-in-law knew this was coming. Somebody's cousin already sold everything. Randy sold everything. The meme stock went first, then the rest, at the bottom, in one shaking lunch break. His gains, gone. The rent money he'd snuck in after the gains, gone with them. Randy is quiet for the first time in 12 years. And the quiet is worse than the megaphone. You do the opposite, and it does not feel brave. Every payday, you buy. The same boring slivers, a third off. Your hands shake at the kitchen table while you do it. Every single Friday. You buy with shaking hands anyway. Rent money never goes in. Everything else does. Erin sits across the table with her red grading pen and watches you do it. Here's the plain truth you hold on to. The companies didn't get worse. Only their price tags did. The whole store is on sale, and everyone you know is sprinting out of the store. And here's the number you'd tell the funeral crowd, if funerals took questions. Every crash in American history has ended the same way. Higher, eventually, for the man who kept his shares. Every single one. The TV never leads with that. On the floor, Marcus has a new speech. Casino money, he says, loud, walking the line. Grown men gambling on phones. The same week, Marcus pins up mandatory Saturdays for everyone. The plant needs the push, corporate says. You notice what that means. You keep bolting. Then, in the middle of the worst market of your life, a small holy thing happens at the kitchen table. The dividends, all those slivers bought on sale, now cover the phone bill. All of it, every month, forever. Erin checks your math twice with the red pen. Then she says it flat, the way she says all the true things. That's one bill that can never chase us again. She slides her own $40 across the table that Friday. Her handwriting joins yours on the fridge whiteboard. 2 shovels now. Sunday, Walt hears the hatchback wheeze and slides out from under his truck. Your dad checks the oil, wipes the dipstick on his jeans, and says, "Ask me before you ever ask a bank." You nod. You don't ask. Some things run in families, like saving in cigar boxes. Someday you'll write everyone who sold that winter a single page about it, and they'll tape it up in break rooms. That's later. This year has one lesson, and it's ugly and it's simple. Everyone at the plant is praying for the market to come back. You're praying the sale lasts one more year. Level 4. $100,000. 5 in the morning, kitchen table, full uniform, and the phone shows the thing you've waited 7 years to see. You put it face down, drink your coffee, and go work your shift anyway. Here's what the phone said. The recovery came, the way it always has. Everything you bought with shaking hands doubled. The slivers you shoveled in through the worst winter of your life turned around and did 7 years of work in 18 months. On the fridge whiteboard there are 2 lines, updated every Sunday. What the job paid this year. What the account made this year. Erin's handwriting on the even weeks. This year, the account beat the job. By $5,000. The money out-earned the man. You give it a month to make sure it isn't a fluke wearing a suit. Then another. 4 Sundays, 4 wins. Meanwhile, the dividends quietly took over the electric bill, and on good months, the groceries. The bills are dying one at a time, oldest first, like a list being worked by somebody patient. So on a Tuesday in June, you work your last shift clean, every hinge square, and set your badge on Marcus's clipboard. Marcus looks at the badge, then at you, and delivers his whole religion flat. You'll be back. Everybody comes back. Behind him, the line keeps moving. Someone else's hinges now. Randy comes off the line with the megaphone voice gone small. Nobody just quits, man. People get fired. People get hurt. Nobody quits. Randy looks at you like you told him gravity was optional. It takes the line 11 days to believe you're gone. You counted, out of habit. The rumor said fired. The truth was worse for morale. The first Monday after, you wake at 4:50 in the dark for no reason at all. You stand in the dark kitchen holding a coffee you don't have to hurry. The line is running without you right now. The account is too. Only one of them will notice you're missing. You go back to bed. It feels illegal. It's just dividends, arriving on a Monday, with nobody's permission. The $25 still moves every Friday. The account doesn't need it anymore. You need it. It's the handshake that started everything. Wednesday, Walt's truck pulls into your driveway, and your dad gets out already reaching for the hatchback's hood latch. He heard secondhand, from a cousin, the way family news travels. Walt checks your oil, slow, and says the only blessing he has, keep the oil changed anyway. That's Walt for, I'm watching, don't get stupid. That night, Erin studies the whiteboard, both lines, 7 years of Sundays. She says it flat. You didn't quit work. You quit renting out your Saturdays. $100,000. No boss, no badge, no alarm. Now comes the part the title promised. The after. The after has one job. Prove it wasn't luck. Level 5. $1 million. 6 in the morning on your own front porch, coffee in hand. At the exact minute the first shift is clocking in across town. You know the sound that buzzer makes. You will never hear it again. This is the after. Year 3. You read annual reports at the kitchen table the way other men read box scores. You do the school drop-off, and you're the only father in the line who isn't checking the clock. There is no clock. Nobody owns it anymore. Red days still come. You buy them calmly now, the way you learned in the crash. The old group chat still sells the bottom of every dip and calls it instinct. Then, in April, at the kitchen table, the math turns holy. The dividends alone, this year, will pay more than the plant ever paid you. Not the growth, not selling. Just the checks the machine mails out for owning it. You could sell nothing, do nothing, sleep until noon every day of your life, and still out-earn the man you used to be. Investments making more than your job was the finish line. This is past it. The investments are the job now, and they never once ask for a Saturday. You read the number 3 times. Then you go mow the lawn like a normal man, grinning at the grass. The money gets loud anyway, because money always does. Erin tells her sister one true sentence at a birthday dinner. 9 days later, half the school parking lot knows. The asks arrive with casseroles attached. A cousin's roof, a neighbor's can't-miss thing, which is a vending machine route. Every hello has a number folded inside it now. But one ask is different. Randy waits by your truck in the school parking lot, hat literally in hand, humbled all the way down. Straight up, Randy says. Is the boring thing real? You hold up your phone and show him the button. $25, every Friday, the whole haystack, never sell scared. Randy stares at it like it should be harder. It isn't harder. It fits inside a lunch break. It always did. Randy starts that Friday. At the plant, they cut second shift. Marcus's clipboard holds half the names it used to. You hear it from Randy and feel the old floor tilt under people you like. Shifts can be cut. Shares can't. Sunday, you try to hand Walt $40 for gas. Your dad waves it off like a bug. Later, through the garage door, you watch the same 220s go into the cigar box. Erin sees your face on the drive home. She says it flat. $1 million, and the only room it didn't change is your dad's garage. The world has your number now. Soon it stops calling. It starts sending people. Level 6. $10 million. There's a man in a soft gray suit sitting in your kitchen, and he's been happy to wait for 40 minutes. He's from a private bank. Past a certain number, banks stop mailing you letters and start mailing you people. He has a leather folder, a fountain pen, and all the time you want to give him. You were on the phone with a roofing crew. He waited. He thanks you for the chance to wait. Erin walks through, takes in the scene, and says it flat on her way out the door. Look at that. They hired a man to do your waiting for you. You sign nothing. He thanks you anyway, twice, and leaves his card under the sugar bowl like a tip. Here is what compounding looks like from the inside, and nobody at the plant would believe the shape of it. The first million took 7 years of shaking hands. The last one took a season. These days the account makes your old annual wage about every month, without being asked, the way weather happens. You used to check the app at red lights. Now Erin checks the weather more often than you check the account. Rich, it turns out, is mostly a checking frequency problem. The house is new, 2 acres, a long porch, paid in cash. The closing done in under an hour. Erin still teaches 3rd grade 8 minutes away, because 26 kids know her name, and that math beats yours. In the driveway sits a brand new truck you bought for Walt. Your dad refused it for 3 weeks. Now he drives it to keep the battery alive, and checks its oil like it's a patient. Then in January, the letter happens, almost by accident. Erin's family keeps asking what to buy. Cousins, uncles, her sister's husband. So you write it once, 1 page, plain words, your handwriting. Buy the whole haystack, not the needle. Feed it every Friday like a bill you owe yourself. When the market catches fire, that's a sale. Buy more. Never sell scared. Time does the rest. You mail 11 copies. The page escapes. A photocopy turns up at a church potluck. Another in a breakroom 2 towns over. A barbershop tapes one to the mirror. In March, the evening news puts the plant on television, and it isn't a ribbon cutting. The plant is closing. 40 years of overtime lists, gone in a 90-second press release. 2,000 jobs. The anchor mispronounces the street it sat on. You watch it from the long porch with the TV through the window, and you don't feel like a winner. Shifts can be cut by strangers in a conference room. Shares can't. That was the whole bet, and you hate being this right. On a Tuesday, the kitchen phone takes a voicemail from a number you don't recognize. It's Marcus, from the plant. A breath, wondering if you had a minute. The clipboard never sounded this small. You have all the Saturdays now. That was always the whole point. Level 7. $100 million. Marcus is on your porch, 61 years old, holding an envelope the way men hold hats at funerals. He arrived 20 minutes early and waited in his car at the end of the driveway, then waited again on the porch. Marcus, waiting. Aaron watches it from the window and says nothing at all. Up close, the years and the plant have both quit on him. The clipboard is gone. What he's holding is his severance. One check, uncashed, 6 months for 40 years. The pension came up short in the bankruptcy. The union got pennies argued up to nickels. 61 is a hard age to hear the word restructured. At the kitchen table, Marcus lays the check down flat and says it, eyes on the wood. Tell me what to do with it. You're the only rich man who ever worked my line. And there it is, on the table between you, 15 years old, loaded, perfectly aged. Clock's mine. His line. You've carried it through every Friday buy, every shaking crash, every 4:50 morning. You actually open your mouth with it in the chamber. Marcus knows. He heard it the second he said, "Tell me." He sits there and takes the silence, because the silence is the bill, and he's been expecting it since the badge hit his clipboard. You set the line down. Needing that win is its own kind of broke, and you've been rich a while now. Instead, you give him 3 flat sentences. Free. Put the severance in the boring machine today. The whole haystack, while it's cheap. Don't touch it for 10 years, not once, no matter what the television says. Take the part-time job for groceries, not for pride, so the machine can work. Marcus takes out a pen. Marcus writes down financial advice from a man he used to schedule. Then he says thanks, rough, like the word cost him a tooth. The truth arrives about an hour after his car leaves, while you stand on the quiet porch. 15 years you carried his line in your pocket. You set it down, and it weighs nothing. All that rehearsal, and it's just a porch, with a tired man on it. Aaron brings out 2 coffees and says it flat. All these years, and the only thing Marcus learned about money is who has it now. Inside, on the kitchen table, sits the week's mail. Envelopes. More every month since the letter escaped. Checks from kitchens you've never stood in. $1,100, $4,000. A folded note that says, "Do ours like yours." Strangers, asking you to hold their savings next to your own. So you set the terms. 1 page, plain. Their money rides beside yours. Same haystack, same Fridays. You take nothing unless they win. 1 letter a year, that's the whole contract. One day that page moves $100 billion. The letter was 1 page. What it starts won't fit in a mailbox. Level 8. $1 billion. The partnership's office is 1 floor above a hardware store, and Wall Street cannot stand it. 4 desks, a coffee maker, no lobby. 1,100 families ride beside your money now, and behind them, lately, the institutions. The first institutional check arrived embarrassed. It stayed greedy. They all do. The strategy has not changed since the lunch table. Own the machine, feed the machine, never sell scared. The edge isn't secret. The edge is that nobody else can sit still for 20 years, and you've done nothing else. Today, 2 men from New York are waiting in the stairwell, between the paint cans, because there's no lobby to wait in. They flew here. Their bank once scheduled men like you in 15-minute slots. Now the bank waits standing up while you finish a sandwich, and it isn't a power move. It's just lunch. The terms they'll take are famous. Flat, honest, nothing, unless the families win first. Randy quits his job in the spring, on purpose. 51 years old, walking out of the warehouse waving like a game show winner. 8 years of $25 Fridays, the overtime on top, the severance dropped in whole on a red week. It added up to enough. Forever. The megaphone finally has a story worth the volume. Randy tells anyone who stands still, the boring thing is real, and it fits inside a lunch break. It always did. That was the whole trick. There wasn't one. Word of Marcus comes through Randy, the way plant news always traveled. Marcus retired last spring after all. 10 years untouched, like the porch said. His severance worked the Saturdays he couldn't. Then the spring's real news. Walt's knees finally quit the forklift. 39 years, one building. The retirement dinner is in his own garage. Folding chairs, store cake on the workbench, the whole family plus Randy, who invited himself. Somebody taped a banner over the pegboard, crooked. Walt leaves it crooked. After the cake, you pop the hood on Walt's truck, and you check your father's oil while he watches. Walt doesn't say anything. Walt lets you do it. Your whole life he's wiped that dipstick on his jeans to tell you he loved you. Tonight the gesture finally points the other way. Erin watches from the folding chairs. Later, quietly, she says the true thing. $1 billion, and the best room you own is still this garage. You stay after everyone leaves, sweeping cake crumbs. Walt stands at the workbench a long time with his back to you. Above the workbench, on the shelf, the cigar box, years heavier than when you first saw it. Walt taps the lid once, like knocking on a door, and says, "Come by Saturday. Bring nothing. You've taken meetings worth billions. You've never once been this nervous for one." Level 9. $100 billion. Saturday morning, Walt's garage, and your dad takes the cigar box down off the shelf with both hands. 20 years since the clipboard. The partnership crossed $100 billion this year. The January letter is still one page. You still run everything from Grand Rapids. The money travels. You don't. The mornings never got bigger. They only got freer. None of that is in the garage. In the garage there's a wooden cigar box. Walt sets it on the workbench and opens the lid. Folded 20s. 39 years deep, soft as cloth at the bottom. Overtime, skipped lunches, the bills he hid from himself so the family would never feel a bad month. The truck fund, for the day the truck dies. The truck never died. Walt maintained it. That was always the lesson, and it took you 20 years to read it. He pushes the box across the workbench. "Count it," Walt says. "You count it like it's a closing. $2,140. You're the only man I know who can make it grow," your dad says. "Do it proper." Walt has never once said he's proud of you. This is the sentence he built instead, 39 years long, in a cigar box. Monday, at the office, you open the account yourself. Walt, all caps, $2,140 in. Same haystack as the billions. Same care. No fees ever. You tell Walt the truth at Sunday dinner. It's the biggest account the partnership manages. Nobody laughs. Nobody was joking. The rest of the after looks like this. Erin retired in June. Her timing, her chalk, 26 kids crying. Randy teaches the $25 button to anyone who stands still. Every fall, the partnership quietly seeds college funds for line workers' kids, from a plant that no longer exists. And every Friday, $25 still moves from checking into the market. Untouched for 20 years, the oldest standing order at the bank. The handshake that started everything. You'd sooner cancel your own birthday. The account pays for everything now. The houses, the quiet, the college funds, all of it, forever. And in 20 years it has never once asked you for a Saturday. So you give the Saturdays away on purpose. Here, in the garage, where Walt talks, and the truck idles and the stories repeat, and you let them. Monday, before dawn, kitchen, coffee. The app shows your old plant's yearly wage arriving, quietly, about every morning. It doesn't creak the stairs. It never says your name. You flip the phone face down and carry the coffee out to the porch while it's hot. Erin finds you there and says it flat, one last time. You bought back your Saturdays. That was always the whole trade. The job ended 20 years ago. The life is still compounding.